We'll call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. I want to acknowledge that we're in Treaty 1 territory and the land on which we are meeting is the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. As a council and a municipality, we will continue to work on moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in the spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. I'll ask for a motion for the adoption of the minutes, please.
Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held at the Herman Pryor Activity Centre on October 15th, 2024 be adopted as circulated.
Moved by Councillor Nichols, seconded by Councillor Doyle. All those in favor? And that is carried. So we have an exciting evening tonight. We are ready to welcome 2 new members to our council table, and we are going to swear them in. This is new for us, and we have 2 new youth councillors. So I'm going to invite you both to the front, as well as Councillor Espy from the Community Services portfolio, and we're going to swear you in, so come on up. So what we're going to do is you're going to read that out, and we're going to consider you sweared in. I will sign, and you'll sign, and you will be a new member of council. Okay? Go ahead.
I, Francois Barnachea, do solemnly swear that I will diligently execute the position of youth member of council and will, to the best of my ability, uphold, promote, and support the ideas, activities, and constitution of the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie. I will serve as a positive role model, leader, and voice for the student population, and will represent the City of Portage la Prairie as well as I possibly can.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm going to sign this to make it official. Congratulations for you. Okay, come on up, Evan. Go ahead.
I, Yuvan Ramachandran, do solemnly swear that I will diligently execute the position of youth member of council and will, to the best of my ability, uphold, promote, and support the ideas, activities, and constitution of the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie. I will serve as a positive role model, leader, and voice for the student population and will represent the City of Portage la Prairie as well as I possibly can.
Excellent. Congratulations. Then we'll get this picture before we... Welcome. Okay, we have no delegations this evening. We'll move into our first opening of public hearing, a request for variation of PC 61-24 Sattler. I'll ask if there is anyone here to speak in favor of this application. Again, anyone here to speak in favor of this application? have a letter to read in favor?
Yes, the applicant sent a letter. They were unable to attend. So their letter says, I haven't spoken to any of the neighbors. I'm unaware if the homeowners have spoken to them or not. The size is 16 feet 6 inches by 30 feet by 9.5 inches. The carport is an the carport is an opened, unattached structure with privacy wall on north side, 1x6 slatted wall with a 1 to 2 inches between the boards. Finishes will be exposed 6x6 treated post, vinyl siding in the gable, aluminum fascia, and eaves trough. And that was from Lyle Sattler.
Thank you. I'll ask if there's anyone here to speak against the application. Again, anyone here to speak against the application? There's no letters against, right? No. Okay, does council have any questions before we close the public hearing? No? I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing for City Planning and Economic Development. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. Be resolved, and I so move that the public hearing for variation PC 61-24, Sattler and Avalos at 805 8th Street Northwest now be closed.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. All those in favor? And that is carried. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. Council, for the Planning and Economic Development Committee, of course, is a request for variation, and the request is to reduce the side yard requirement of 3 meters down to 0.3 meters. The background is, as you heard, the applicant wishes to build an attached carport beside the dwelling, and it is built or is in an R1 residential single-family zone. Council has approved similar requests in the past as follows, and the minutes are there for your reference. In addition, you'll see the site plan and the sketch as well as being up on the wall. And of course, the application has been circulated to various city departments. There's been no comments or concerns received, and as usual, public notices have been sent to all property owners within a 100-meter radius. And as you can see, there have been no objections. So seeing no objections, I so move that the administrative recommendation that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie approve the variation request of Lyle Sattler and Michael Angelo Avalos to vary the side yard requirement of 3 meters down to 0.3 meters at the property known as 805 8th Street Northwest, which is legally described as lots 2224, Plan 100 in the parish of Portage la Prairie.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Any questions or comments from council? I just have a question to administration. I'm confused by the letter from the applicant as to who is the homeowner.
Your Worship, perhaps Mr. Gessel can speak to that.
The homeowner is Avalos, Michael Angelo. He's the homeowner, and Lyle Sattler is the contractor who's applied on his behalf.
Okay. So that was my question, was the homeowner aware this was happening? Well, I thought maybe it was a renter, so okay. Excellent. Any other questions or comments from anyone? No? Okay. All those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, we'll move into Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Worship and colleagues. You may recall last council meeting in committee, you had the proposal for the 2025 annual tax sale. This is something we have to do every year regarding our property taxes and payments thereof. I'm not going to go through the rationale and everything. You've all got that and read it from committee. But just an interesting thing before council, I'll make a recommendation. The past year on tax sale, we had no properties that went to tax sale. And I think that's a really great accomplishment, because it says to me that, hey, people are paying their property taxes, but those who are having financial trouble and need help in a payment plan with our city staff are working it out with our staff. And that's a credit to our staff in finance. And I want to acknowledge them here today. To have no tax sales last year was a great accomplishment. So just wanted the council to be aware of last year's numbers on that. So I would move that the council of the city of Portage la Prairie approve the 2025 tax sale date of September 15th, 2025 for real property with the 2023 property taxes outstanding.
Moved by Councillor Massey, seconded by Councillor Meyer. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. City Planning and Economic Development Committee, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. City Planning and Economic Development Committee has nothing to report at this point in the meeting.
Thank you. Community Services Committee, Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Community Services Committee has nothing to report at this point in the meeting.
Thank you. Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. Waterworks Committee has nothing to report in this portion of the meeting.
Thank you. Transportation Committee, Councillor Porter.
Thank you, Your Worship. Transportation has nothing to report.
Thank you. And Public Safety Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Public Safety Committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. We have no items of deferred business. We'll move right into new business. We will look to award the contract for cell phone services. Finance, Legislative and Property Committee, Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Your Worship and colleagues. This evening we'll be awarding the contract for our cell phone services for the city. The city cell phone services are provided currently by Bell MTS, and the contract is expiring. The province of Manitoba has negotiated a Government of Manitoba public sector organization agreement with Bell Mobility, and the city of Portage is able to take part of that, in the negotiated rates. This agreement takes the city of Portage to the end of the agreement, and was negotiated by the province, and at which time they will be negotiating new rates. So I'll move administrative recommendation. I move that the council of the city of Portage la Prairie approve the contract with Bell Mobility for 48 months beginning October 31, 2024, and that signing authority for the contract be given to the city manager.
Moved by Councillor Massey, seconded by Councillor Meyer. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Yes.
We don't often give credit to some staff during the meeting, and since Mr. Jones is here tonight, I'd just like to thank him for working on that agreement with the province. It's saving the city a substantial amount of money by working in that agreement, and that was his initiative. So he's here tonight, so I'd like to recognize him for his efforts.
Well done. Thank you. Okay, another item of new business, our third quarter financial statements and projected year-end balances. Finance, Legislative and Property Committee, Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Your Worship and colleagues. As I indicated a few council meetings ago, these are the third quarter financial statements for the city of Portage la Prairie for both the general and the utility fund. And we've also staff have provided us with the projected year-end balances. So it's very important financial statements that we're receiving this evening. City's fiscal year is the calendar year with quarters ending March 31, June 30th, September 30th, and December 31. Detailed statements are provided to council quarterly, beginning with the second quarter for their approval. So what staff have done is they've gone through, first of all, for the general fund, and you'll see where the variance is. They're projecting a year-end surplus of $837,000. And you can see, I won't go through all of these, but you'll see one of the big changes in our benefit was $622,000. That was the reduction in the RCMP service contract costs and building rental revenues due to the 23-24 reconciliation. So you'll see that's a big part of the variation. On the utility side, of course, we had increases in revenue for water and sewer sales of $471,000 and various other more minor variations, which I won't go through. They are projecting a surplus in the utility side of $898,000 as well. So you have those variances, but basically at this point, those are the forecasts for year end. So I'll move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie approve the 2024 Q3 financial statements as presented.
Moved by Councillor Massey, seconded by Councillor Meyer. Any questions or comments? Councillor Massey?
Yeah, just a comment, a question maybe to administration, maybe it'd be for the benefit of council. I know we've talked about the biggest variation here on the RCMP reconciliation, but could administration just give a brief description of what that is and how that works in our contract with the RCMP?
Through your worship to Councillor Massey, primarily that is because positions that aren't able to be filled due to staffing shortages, so we will run shorter amount of officers available to our contract than we originally budgeted to. And as we adjust the contract in the year end, if those officers weren't able to be in place, we receive that correction in our financial statement. We have our acting inspector here this evening, and during the third quarter report, perhaps he could provide more information.
Anything else? All those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, another item of new business. We have the September building reports, City Planning and Economic Development. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. As always, it gives me pleasure to be able to, of course, discuss the permits for both city and rural, even though you've got, of course, both the city and the rural numbers. Being a regional body, I'd really like to draw your attention to the combined report. So in brief, you're going to see that there were certainly for last month, there were a number of significant permits totaling almost $19 million. But as I think we discussed, and the trend continues, you're going to see an uptake in new single home development with permit dollars being just about doubled. The one thing that again is probably sticks out the most is that the repair permits have been up almost 100% and have gone from 2.6 million in 2023 to almost 9 million in 2024. I think what that basically says is that homeowners and apartment owners and so on are investing back into their properties, which of course is just really good for the community in its own right. You're going to see some repair permits up on the commercial side for some dollar values. Sorry, the new commercial is up about 5 permits from where it was last year, accounting for about another $10 million in new construction. Industrial, again, you're going to see some repair on that side. You'll also see some institutional. We know, of course, that's related to the hospital, which is probably the significant bulk of this. So the other thing you're going to look at, farm buildings, although that doesn't affect us, it does affect our planning and district, our regional planning district, and you're going to see that those are up significantly as well. So the one other thing we talk about is the cottage industry, and you're going to see the RTMs are up, maybe not so much in numbers, but up in dollar values. So I guess that leads one to believe that the quality of the properties that they're building may be more than they were previously. So really cool to see kind of where it's going. And of course, as I mentioned, probably last council meeting, the one before that, just really hands off to the planning district. That's a lot of permits and a lot of work that they've been doing in the last while. And of course, to our development team, PRED, industrial stakeholders group, and so on. It's through their effort that this is shovels in the ground, and we really appreciate seeing the permit report to where it's at. So unless there's any questions, that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. We have another item of new business. We have the Water Pollution Control Facility upgrading status. Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Worship. Council, what you have in front of you is a report and a quarterly report on our water pollution control facility and where we're at. Not a lot of changes in terms of where we're at with this project and timelines and what it looks like and financial pieces, and there's not a lot, but I can tell you that we are getting into some higher level meetings we started off with, and with government and ourselves collectively getting around this piece and seeing where there may be some roadmaps going forward. So, but it's good, a good read. Please take the time and go through the report, and if there's any questions that you may have, don't be afraid to ask. And With that, that's my, and it's for your information only at this point, but it's a good read. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Nichols? Or anyone? Okay, we'll move into another item of new business, our quarterly reports. We'll start with City Planning and Economic Development Committee, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. Going back to the building permits, part of where we're at today, obviously, I believe, is our strong economic department. And before I invite our Director of Economic Development, Ms. Eva Leary, I'm going to beat her to the punch on one thing, because I do know it is recognized in her report, and I figured I would just take advantage of being able to speak first. I just really want to take this moment to congratulate the PRED department, specifically Ms. O'Leary and her team. 2 awards that they had received. How do I say it? PRED is an organization that's been around probably 14 years and has really taken this city on some significant steps. I've watched these reports for the last 6 years that I've been on council, and I just see where they've expanded to from where they were now to certainly where they are today. We know that we're a bit of the gold standard. We know that other communities talk about us. We're really appreciative of the team and so on that we have working here. But I also want to say that not only are we recognized locally, we're recognized provincially, and now we're recognized across the country. PRED, of course, took home 2 national awards from the Economic Development Association of Canada for the unique and innovative economic development practices. And in her own words, the secret sauce is a winning recipe. So I will let Ms. O'Leary speak to that a little bit further as she presents the quarterly report for PRED. But once again, I just think they deserve a big round of applause getting us on the national scope as well. Thank you, Ms. O'Leary.
Thank you, Councillor Meyer, and good evening, Council. It's exciting to see we're here at Q3, and certainly we have a theme this quarter of showcasing. So our methodical approach over the last 5 years has been getting us to a situation where we have the assets, the data, and being more investment ready. So we're very excited about that. PRED is a not-for-profit economic development department that is a joint entity between the city and the RM, and definitely it is the gold standard provincially and nationally to work together and leverage each other's assets. So I'm very excited to say that our secret sauce is now winning awards, but it's not without the efforts of all our departments, our staff, City Council, RM Council, our Board of Directors, our business communities, and all of our stakeholders provincially and federally as well. Super excited that we did win that award, but again, economic development cannot be done in a silo, and I'm very excited to see that Portage la Prairie is being recognised for the years of hard work and collaboration. As you can see, we do have 3 committees that make up the Economic Development Department. So that's the Regional Tourism Committee, which Kelly is here this evening to speak on her portfolio. We also have the Portage Economic Response Team, and then the Portage Industrial Stakeholders Group as well. So really focusing on promoting with our secret sauce, our regional assets and why the region is a place of investors' choice. So we were excited to have the 2nd annual Developers Day this year. It was very successful. The concept is proven in economic development that these familiarization tours are very beneficial. Not only is it a great exercise for our local community to understand what we have and to shout about it, but also to provide that information when requests for proposals come in or requests for information. So again, thank you to the City of Portage la Prairie, the RM and Southport Aerospace Centre for hosting an excellent Developers Year, and we're excited for 2025. We're also grateful to the Manitoba Chamber of Commerce and our local Chamber of Commerce here for bringing people across Manitoba to learn what we have for economic development and what our investment opportunities are. So again, thank you to all those involved. And we also showcase community futures from Saskatchewan on best practices as well. So talking a little bit about the regional approach, the Portage Economic Response Team, which is made up of the boots on the ground economic development practitioners, We are out this week. It is business walks. We have 11 teams of groups going out this week, so it's about 60 to 70 hours of people power going out this week and visiting businesses all across our region. So that will be happening from tomorrow until November 1st. So stay tuned for that, and it does align with our strategic plan of being more connected to our business community. So for the Portage Industrial Stakeholders Group, they're focused on a socioeconomic impact assessment, and also the new Industrial Development Strategy RFP was released, and we've received some tenders, and they will be awarded in the next couple of weeks. And then we're really focusing on our marketing efforts for refining who we are and what we are and who we want to see in our community. So really focusing on the Macmillan Industrial Park and the Poplar Bluff Industrial Park, and really focusing on the Portage Advantage. PRED has access to a lot of studies and strategies on the Invest in Portage website. And one thing we just wanted to connect with council and the public was that we do free environmental scans and assessments and reports for all our business community, entrepreneurs, investors, and local not-for-profit organizations as well. So it might be helpful as community organizations move into their grant cycle and need updated economic indicators in the region. We have a wonderful board of directors who sets the governance and policy for PRED. And then we also have set up a new FAQ on who PRED is, what they are, and what the services are in the business community. So for Q4, we're going to be focusing in on the industrial development strategy and marketing those areas, and continuing to work with our prospectors and investors, as well as working on the report for our business retention and expansion from the pulse that will be happening this week in the region.
And that's everything at that point. Thank you, Ms. O'Leary. And once again, I know that your team is way beyond a team of two, and it just really, I know it gives council certainly a good feeling when all the departments are working together in that same area. So once again, thank you to your team, and of course all the extension, whether it be of course planning, industrial stakeholders, city administration, RM, and so on. I would just like to ask you, could you just take one more second, just expand on one thing. Something that we did last year, we just started again this year, was Developers Day. Would you be able to just take up maybe a minute and just kind of just run through kind of how that works and how that worked out and where we're at with it? It's a great program.
Yes, it is a great program. We were very excited to host many different developers for specifically commercial and residential developers in our region. Certainly a joint effort between the City of Portage la Prairie, the RM, and Southport to host the event. We did a familiarization tour and some networking on that day. We boasted about a lot of the investment and why billions of dollars of investment is happening in the region of Portage la Prairie. We also had a 100 facts with Eve. We didn't get through them all, but it was certainly a great exercise on creating a list of why people should invest in the region. I know there was lots of excitement on the day. We're seeing lots of interest from developers and investors from that. So we really want to grow that next year into a bigger and better event each year. So yes, it was a wonderful familiarization tour. And not only is it great to promote your region, but it also gives the PRED team up-to-date data and site selection skills for when our other clients come into town. So we're really doing this a lot. It's certainly a similar tour that we did with EDAM and MCC and Community Future, so it was a good exercise to have this process in place.
Thank you, Ms. O'Leary. And again, the only really reason I want to bring that up is I've had a number of conversations with some of the people that attended those days, and just the comments, the positivity, and the about how well organized and professional and everything else. And I think it just makes us proud to say, hey, we're from a city that has that economic vehicle in place to really have that, and to stand on our soapbox and hey, I think we're there. So once again, congratulations on on not only your awards, but all of the other things that went on with that. So
Just a comment, Councillor Meyer, that really looking forward to the business walks that are gonna happen this week. And thanks to, I believe, Councillor Nichols, Councillor Massey are taking part in it. So it'll be interesting to see what feedback we get from our local businesses.
you bet. Okay, moving on, Tourism Committee, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Okay, you betcha. So once again, one of the, probably the underrated assets of our community is the tourism factor. I know this became a specific portfolio back a number of years ago, and we've been fortunate enough to have a tourism coordinator that has done a tremendous job, and I will introduce Ms. Kelly Burway to get us an update on Q3 report for the tourism.
All right. Oh my, should have tested that first. Okay, thank you guys for having me here today. For anybody online who doesn't know, I am Kelly Burway. I am the tourism coordinator, as Preston mentioned, and a little bit hard to believe we're here presenting Q3 already, but yeah, that's what we're here to do. So I will get, I'm not sure who's running the PowerPoint, but I will get you to go to page 4. No, yep, that one, yep. So Q3 has been quite exciting in tourism. One of the main projects that we took on was redoing our tourism website, and it is now officially live. The content was outdated, to say the least, but the look was also quite outdated, and then more importantly, the functionality of it from a user standpoint, but also from a back-end standpoint, and my abilities to update it and keep it looking fresh, it just wasn't where it should be, but now it is. So I will get you, there is a link right at the bottom of that first section there, and I'll show you guys through kind of our new website briefly. Yep. It's not working. Okay, that's fine. I'll trust that you guys can all take a look at that, or if she gets it open before I'm done, then I'll go back to it. But in Q3, I also had our initial meeting with Travel Manitoba. So every year, the Tourism Committee creates a partnership agreement with Travel Manitoba to promote our region and our assets through their channels, which gives us a much larger reach than what we can do just on our own. So going forward in 2025, we will have a $7,000 spend, and we use our tourism assets in the region to kind of guide what that spend looks like. So in 2023, we did a influencer visit. So we had Paul Epp come out and spend a weekend with his family in our region, and in that we received a whole bunch of content that is now the face of our new website. So we will be doing that again in 2025, and we'll be featuring different assets, and it will likely be a different influencer to, reach another group of people who are interested in traveling within Manitoba. So it looks like we have our website up now. This main picture, for right now, it's a still image, and the intention is to keep it rotating throughout the season so that it's always something, relevant to what the look and feel of our community will be like when people come to visit. We also have, in 2025, we did a drone package with Travel Manitoba, and so some of this also could be a video. It doesn't have to be a still image. So once we kind of get that drone footage into some nice looking videos, that will be an opportunity to use that as well. So right at the top, we do have a link to our guide. We won't open that tonight just because that is something that I trust all of you have seen. It's been out for a while now. But the look of this, the look and feel of this website is very cohesive with the Travel Manitoba website, which I thought was important to create kind of a cohesive look throughout our province. So we did definitely play off of what their website looks like and went from there. If you scroll down, we have 6 Choose Your Adventure sections, which a lot of it is very similar to the old website. One section that is new is the beaches and boats, which I thought was quite important to be highlighting our beaches within the RM as well, because We do have great assets within the city and within the RM. So again, taking that regional approach with tourism. But yeah, the arts and culture, history and heritage, outdoor experiences, roadside attractions, and sports recreations, all same sections that were in the old website, just with refreshed content. That's correct, so that's nice. Yeah, and then going down, we have split out, we used to have one page that was all three of these, and it was a ginormous list, and you had to scroll down for a really long time, so splitting them out into the three sections now just makes a lot more sense, and the page is a lot more easy to navigate. And then to the bottom, we have upcoming events, which this is new to the website. We always had an events page, but it was kind of hidden, you had to get to it, so now we have feature events that'll scroll across right on the homepage. This is still a work in progress. I will say for anyone listening, if you have events, please send them to tourism. We're happy to be uploading them. I do my best to know what's going on in the community, but the more people can provide me with information, just the quicker that it gets onto our pages. And that's the same goes for social media. And then at the bottom, there is the guide, which is a flip book that we can you can flip through to see the guide that's also available in a printed copy. Yeah, so that's kind of the new look of the website. We're very excited about it. I'm very excited about it because, like I said, it's a lot easier to work with from a back-end perspective. So that's kind of was a large part of Q3. Like I said before, we did do the drone shoot, so that was a couple days of working with Travel Manitoba and getting them to the places that we wanted to be captured. And then, yeah, some exciting partnerships. We have welcomed the Prairie Fusion group to our committee, so that was an exciting expansion to the committee group. And so in Q4, at the beginning of Q4, we are helping them with a bit of advertising for their upcoming events. I encourage everybody here listening, please, if you're able to, attend the events that they have going on. They're bringing in some excellent acts. They're working really hard over there, and we need to ensure that as a community we're supporting them so that they're here for us, but they're also here for visitors. So I will give them just a couple of little shout outs. On November 8th, they are doing comedy and cuisine. There is still some tickets available for that. November 22nd is the Winnipeg Jazz Orchestra, and the PCI Jazz Band will be opening for them, so that's a really great collaboration, and Lauren and her team have been working really hard to do that within the community. And then December 4th is the Symphony Orchestra, and they will be bringing in the Prairie Vox Community Choir, who will be actually going into Winnipeg to practice with the WSO and then coming back and joining them for that performance. So like I said, really exciting things going on there. We also did a partnership with the Fort Laurier Museum to utilize the backside of the kiosk that was put up on their grounds. So the first partnership that we did was to promote the corn maze. And it's just a great big banner, and there's no dates or anything on it, so it's going to be able to be used year after year. And going forward, we'd like to kind of open that space up to people or organizations who have events going on that do need that little extra promotion. So if you do have something going on, please keep us in mind, please reach out. We can't promote necessarily everything, but we definitely want to be working within the community. And I think I'll leave it at that for tonight, but I will open it up to questions if anyone has.
Does anyone have questions? I have a couple.
Okay.
I love the new website. I love the look of it. I was just trying to find earlier, like you said, if people should send you events, etc., but I couldn't find an email address listed on the website.
Yes.
Right, so
it's being changed.
Okay.
Yes,
good.
so it's going to match the Discover Portage la Prairie. We're working with the city IT team to get that all working perfectly.
Perfect. And then the other thing is just a comment that keeps coming up about community, like about people knowing what's happening, and I love that this website's sort of going to have like those signature event sort of things on it. But have you ever thought about just putting the link to the community event page on Portage on like somewhere on there so that they could also access that?
Yeah, that's a super good idea. Like, we do have links to Travel Manitoba and Central Manitoba Tourism, so I think an outside link is a very viable option. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. That looks great.
Perfect.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Maria. And Mayor must have been reading my mind. I was going to ask exactly, so since I've been on council, one of the biggest frustrations is when are the events of these wonderful organizations when they have them. And to see this now kind of being a one-stop shop, I guess. Now, is it going to be tied into the city events, like we were talking about as a city? Can you just explain to me, is it one place now we send things to for events in our community?
Okay, I'll have to ask a question back to that. Does the city have an events calendar on their website?
We have a new website coming.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Okay, so then yes, we should definitely be in talks about how that should work. I know, and the thing about Portage Online is that people can submit their own events directly on there, so it's a bit of an easier process. So I think having a link from our website to that website is a great option. And then if there's another in-house calendar that might be somewhere.
I do think though, we're looking for the same idea, is not us being the host, but
Yeah.
sending people to those places.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Nope, that works for us, and we're happy to have further conversations and make sure that the information is out there. I will say there is the guide was linked to the city website, so we will need to make sure that that gets updated because it will have changed with the new website.
That's all. And I did notice that if I went discoverportagelaprairie.com, doesn't take me there.
It doesn't. We're working with the IT. They've pointed out a couple of things like that. We're working with our designer there. And then from here, we do need to do some SEO work, because even if you put in Portage Online or Portage la Prairie in Google, we're pretty far down. So we got some work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet. And Madam Mayor, just speaking on behalf of the committee, obviously there's challenges as this thing continues to grow, and I think we'd love to hear them pointed out. Everybody working together and everything intertwined, I think, is just going to be a better communication tool for the city. I do want to just point out, not that it's in defense of anything by any means, this even though it's really been a pillar for Pred, tourism standing on its own has only been the last couple of years. So to really see where it's kind of started from to where it's gone today in such a short period of time, I think it speaks volumes. Like I say, do we have a way to go? I think you're absolutely correct, we do. But I think where we've taken it from that point to now, I think has moved on so far. So thank you for the input immensely.
Please don't
Yes.
take any of that as criticism. Sorry, it was just comments. No, Kelly knows.
It went right over my head if it was criticism, so you're all good.
Those are awesome. So that's the end of my report. Thank you, Ms. Burley. I really appreciate the update.
Thank you guys for having me.
I thought she'd appreciate I looked at the website, so that, there you go.
Have a look.
Thank you. Anything else?
That's the end of my report.
Awesome. Community Services Committee, Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Worship. We have a bunch of third quarter reports, and first up is PCRC, and I see Ms. Kinnear is here. I would like to invite her to present the report.
Thank you, Mr. Espy, Mayor, and Council. The Portage la Prairie Community Revitalization Corporation quarterly report highlights from July to September 2024. The Local Immigration Partnership, also known as LIP, hosted Envisioning the Future of Ethno-Cultural Communities to Engage Newcomers, partnering with the Indian community for Diwali, and applied for funding for free karaoke nights. They also addressed temporary foreign worker abuse with public awareness campaigns and MLA meetings, refining referral systems for better community support. We also had grants applied for $162,900 in grants, with $32,900 approved, Orange Shirt Day, and Accessible Playground. Intake for small grants phase 2 also started. The Community Facilitator Initiatives assisted with the new skate park sod installation and grand opening of 125 attendees. They also supported Paint the Town Orange and September 21st Round Dance, which had 100 attendees. They mentored summer students, green team, and assisted with the graffiti removal program. Community events supported Canada Day Barbecue with strong sales for the Bear Clan, organized best garden selection, and assisted with Communities in Bloom planning for the October conference. Wowokia program provided rides, groceries, and resources with Medicine Wheel project extended to March 2025. secured employment for 7 individuals, and advanced the Intensive Care Management ICM program. Reaching Home supported Stop Sexual Exploitation Walk and held a successful fundraising raffle, assisted unhoused individuals and housed 3 families focusing on food security and transportation. Youth Hub secured a new location and hired staff for youth programs, drafted a proposal for a Guns and Gangs initiative, hosted case management training. Urban Indigenous Strategy, successful Paint the Town Orange and Truth and Reconciliation events, planning for a permanent Indigenous cultural site. Indigenous Seniors Resource Coordinators supported elders with transportation, 13 instances, and odd jobs, gathering input from elders for future programming and addressing food insecurity. That is my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any
Thank you for
questions?
that.
No? Go ahead.
Okay, Your Worship. Next up is the Suta Cachicha Report, the Urban Indigenous Strategy, and this report was provided by Rachel and Lauren. This quarter has been productive with significant progress in community engagement and cultural initiatives. We look forward to continuing this momentum in the upcoming months. In July, they attended the monthly UPIP meeting where they had an opportunity to meet the coalition coordinators from across the province. This was an enriching experience that helped them understand the broader network that they are a part of. Another significant achievement was the successful writing and submission of the Orange Shirt Day Fund grant application, which has since been approved. Additionally, they began planning for an upcoming community event and participated in medicine picking activity with both the local women's group and the Portage Friendship Center, which fostered connections and cultural practices within the community. August was a busy month as they held numerous meetings to finalize the details for the community event, ensuring everything was on track. They also conducted a meeting focused on discussing the visions and mission for the permanent Indigenous cultural site, which is crucial for our long-term goals. Collaboration continued as they met with representatives from the National Indigenous Residential School Museum to prepare for National Day for Truth and Reconciliation and engage with developers regarding the Indigenous cultural site. Additionally, they met with UPIP representative to strengthen our collaborative efforts and explore future opportunities. September was particularly impactful as they helped plan and assist with the September 21st Community Round Dance event, which attracted close to 100 community members. This event showcased the power of community collaboration, involving various groups such as PRF, Bear Clan, PAC, Prairie Fusion, FRC, Indigenous artists, Miss Beach, the Youth Men's Drum Group, Spirit House, and the Women's Drum Group, Happy Eagle Singers. They also coordinated with the Paint the Town Orange initiative, where nearly 20 local businesses participated by having Indigenous artists Miss Beach paint orange t-shirts on their windows in honor of National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. Moreover, they served on the planning committee for the Honor Walk and community events hosted by the National Indigenous Residential School Museum to further educate the community. They had recorded radio segments discussing truth and reconciliation and calls to action. Lastly, they hosted meetings with developers, knowledge sharers, and elders to discuss plans for the permanent Indigenous interpretive site, with the official name and announcement still pending. And that concludes that report.
Thank you. Any questions on that, anybody? Nope. All yours.
Next is the Public Art Committee. Activities completed this quarter: art installation constructed, began, and was completed. Coordinated all parties for the piece to be installed at Simplot Central Park, and an unveiling was held October 2nd. Activities begun this quarter. We're meeting to complete all activities as soon as possible, settling invoices, getting quotes for signage for the piece, and representing remaining fund reports to council. And the goals for next quarter is dissolution of the committee, and I believe that is moving to an advisory committee?
Advisory group.
Advisory group, yes.
I guess just a comment on the installation of the art. It's a beautiful piece, and I've had some feedback of what people think of it. So kudos to the Public Art Committee, and also a thank you for them putting in all their time and effort over this time, and appreciate them finishing this project and then we look forward into new public art with our new ad hoc group as it comes ahead.
Yes, indeed. Next up is the Heritage Advisory Committee third quarter report. And the chair happens to be Councillor Porter, so I would like to call on her, through your worship, to present that report.
Thank you, Your Worship. So the Heritage Advisory Committee is another one of those committees that's moving towards an ad hoc, not committee, but an ad hoc group. So that's probably going to go further down the line at some point. But some of the activities that we had begun this quarter, and one of them is being held off because the expert in the area, and it was a signage that finishing off our signage along the Crescent and the Lakeside. This project, the people that were experts in this area have moved on to other work places, and so this project is on hold at this point. The book project for the hospital fundraiser is continuing. It's supposed to be printed in 2025. James Koschuk and his team are still working on it, and they plan on having it completed before the hospital is open. We continue to have this ongoing discussion with the Lundy Fountain, with the Sunset Palliative Care, to install a plaque and possibly put some lighting around it and some kind of wrought iron look in the shape of Sunset Palliative Care. Again, we have ongoing discussions on possible projects for the future grant intakes, and a discussion with community committee membership on how to attract more members, and putting out some kind of a survey to in different areas to see if we have any interest from people outside the committee. Goals for next quarter is to revamp this committee structure to the advisory group format, and they want to continue on with the book project for completion in 2025, and any future projects of heritage and the nature that may arise that somebody feels that we need to concentrate on. So, and that is my report.
Thank you. And again, a huge thank you to the Heritage Committee up to this date for all the work that they've done in our community. There are some long-term members, some newer members. Thank you for chairing that committee up to this time, Councillor Porter. And same thing, that committee will be dissolving at this point, and we will be moving into an advisory group format. So we do hope that some of those people who sit on the committee who have interest in this heritage in our city will apply to stay on as an ad hoc advisory group member. So thank you again.
Thank you, Worship. And last but not least, we have the quarterly report for the Portage Parks Committee. This is prepared by Gord Zacharias. Activities completed this quarter. PPC held the grand opening for Rotary Skate Park August 10th. Co-op Winter Snow Hill reshaped. Activities begun this quarter. Continued fundraising for Simplot Central Park. Continued planning towards development of Simplot Central Park. Continued planning for sponsor signage throughout the park. And the goals for the next quarter. Finalize details of proposed signage for Rotary Skate Park and Co-op Winter Park. And install signage if ready before winter.
Thank you.
And that concludes our report.
I have two questions. I don't know what Co-op Winter Park is.
To answer your question, basically, it's an area for sledding and tobogganing.
Like at
Simplot Central Park.
Okay. Yeah. I was reading that today.
There's lots of options being explored for lighting as well.
Excellent. And would you like to give a plug for committee members? We need new ones.
We do have a new chair of this committee. happens to be yours truly. But we are looking for new committee members. We do have some people that have shown some interest, but we are always looking. So if you are interested, please reach out.
Because the deadline is
It's coming up fast.
the 31st, so Halloween.
Oh,
Coming up
okay,
fast,
so
yeah.
really fast.
Yeah. Excellent. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Councillor Espy. Public Safety Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have 3 reports in my portfolio this evening, and to read the third quarter bylaw enforcement report, I will call up Mr. Kyle Adamski.
Good evening, everybody. Third quarter was very busy for us. Total calls, the service was 769 calls. That's the most calls we've had in one quarter in 4 years now, 3 years, since we took over, 2020. 4 years. 50 animals impounded and $25,000 in revenue created from fines. At the time the report was created, there was 3 cats, 1 dog in the retention facility. Now there is 9 cats and 0 dogs. Other than that, it's just been very busy. We did, I'd like to thank council. We were awarded the contract as of August 1st of this year. I missed the last meeting, so I wasn't able to say that. Thank you. We do look forward to that. Other than that, there is not much to report on. It's just the guys are busy. We're out of the office more often than none. So we're on off our feet. We're hoping for a wind down for the winter and maybe a ramp up for snow, if we get any.
Yeah. Any questions for Mr. Adamski? Councillor Massey?
Thank you, Your Worship, and Mr. Adamski, thank you for your report. What's driving you? You say it's the busiest ever. Is it sort of a post-COVID thing that people are just out and about more? There's more issues, or what's driving it right now?
That I'm not sure. We sit down and talk twice a week on stuff like this. Like, what are we finding more of? And I don't know. I got 2 guys dedicated. They're just out up and down the roads, up and down the back lanes. I barely see them because they're out being proactive, looking for infractions. So that might be it. We have quite a new crew. 2 new hires in the last 2 months. So it might be dry for personnel. I'm not too sure. It's hard to put a finger to.
I just want to comment, I appreciated the piece of your report. I think we as a council really think community involvement is important, and I really did like the piece of your report where you talked about being involved in things like Potato Festival, etc. So thanks for putting that in there.
Thank you. Yeah, we try to get out. And the 2 new guys that we did hire, they love the meals that they do on their lunch breaks. I can do it in a half hour. They take 2 hours sometimes, so they end up staying late just because they like talking with the people. Not saying I don't like to, but they really enjoy it.
That's good. Okay, no other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now to read the third quarter RCMP report, I will call on Acting Inspector Semaniuk.
Good evening, Mayor Knox and members of council. Special welcome to our youth councilors. Welcome, guys. And just to make it a little confusing, the RCMP do a second quarter report tonight because we operate on a different calendar year, just for you, so you know. And I'll be speaking today about July 1st to September 30th. With our annual performance plan, I'd like to deliver our second quarter results. Under employee engagement and wellness, a total of 8 internal meetings were held with our staff. This initiative continued to strengthen awareness, promote communication, and demonstrate transparency with all staff of the Portage la Prairie detachment and within the Central Plains area. Under modernization, stewardship, and service delivery, a total of 139 communications with our partners and community groups took place within the Central Plains area. During the second quarter, we attended 8 community-related meetings. Reconciliation with Indigenous communities, we attended and or visited 3
Inspector,
events.
could you just speak a little louder, please? Thank
Sure.
you.
Visited 3 events in the local area during the second quarter. Under road, off-road, and water safety, we issued 841 violation tickets on the Central Plains area roadways, and we participated in 5 Manitoba public insurance funded road safety initiatives. Under crime reduction, we conducted 14 compliance checks on individuals with court enforceable conditions, and we were granted 12 search warrants during the quarter. Now on to crime stats. We saw a minimal decrease of municipal criminal code total calls for service during the second quarter, having 2,596 calls for service compared to last year at this same time where we had 2,523 calls. Persons crimes were down from 234 last quarter to 209. Property crimes, however, were up from 231 to 298. Theft of motor vehicles were down from 21 last quarter to 16. And break-and-enters were also slightly down from 52 to 48. Over to our municipal overview on human resources. That kind of ties into what you were talking about earlier with our full-time equivalent members. We have 27 on the municipal contract here. Right now we're operating with 22, so that's a gap of 5. So that tells you there's a salary dollar gap. So you're probably looking at the same thing this year to what Councillor Massey had brought up earlier this evening. Sorry about that. Right now we have 2 members on special leave and we have 3 hard vacancies. On the municipal detachment support staff, we have 8 established positions and we're currently operating with 2 hard vacancies. A little bit jumping into the next quarter here, but we have had 2 new cadets come from the training academy, so it's nice to have them at the detachment. And we'll be getting 2 more cadets in November, along with 2 experienced officers, but that tells you that they're coming in. We also have members going out, so our numbers are staying relatively the same. In closing, I appreciate the opportunity to present the second quarter report this evening. I look forward to continuing to work together to enhance community safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or Councillor Espy?
I do, thank you, Your Worship. Today, as an activity, because crime's always a hot issue in our community, so I went back as far as I could go back on the website to 2016, and I compared the same time period from year over year from 2016 to today. And I was looking specifically at person and property crimes, and I didn't notice an outstanding increase in that time period. But, and I understand this is a question you may not be able to answer for me today, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What I did notice is that traffic violations have decreased considerably since 2016 to today. They're less than 50% what they were in 2016, and there has been big drops every year since that time. And I'm wondering if there is an explanation for that, other than people are just driving better and following the law.
We'll go with half of that. Yeah, so right now we're operating with 1 person on a traffic unit. If we had 2, the numbers would be higher, of course. And then it all has to do with the numbers we have. When we have, we're supposed to have 27, we only have 22. That'll be the same on the provincial side. We're running shortages. So when we're not up to full staff, we can't produce the numbers that we would if we were at full capacity.
I just wanted to comment today because today we went to the legislature for a meeting, and when we were there, we were surrounded by many first responders going in, 134 first responders from around the area that were being given the Order of the Buffalo for their involvement in the Carberry crash, and it stuck with me today. And I was actually in this room and got the text as to when that happened, but it just made it necessary that I just want to thank all of our first responders for what you do every day, and sometimes the horrific things you deal with and you go through, and just want you to know that we as council just appreciate what you do for our city and our community, and just wanted to push that forward. So.
Thank you, and we did have members from the Central Plains area, primarily Portage and Treehorn, at the legislature today.
Oh, nice, excellent, thank you. Councillor Massey?
Thank you, Worship.
Mike?
A little follow-up, this reconciliation, is that the way the RCMP does it, and the way our accounting staff do our financials? It seems to be a problem at times, and I know that, is that a Division D accounting? Like, it just seems to throw our budgeting off, and, is there any way we could look at that, like, to make it maybe a little better for our finance department to forecast these fairly significant changes in our financials?
Sure, I'm actually meeting with Mr. Pito next week, so we can talk about how we could possibly modernize that. If we don't ask, we'll never know, so that's something I can certainly look into. But I know working off the different calendars, it does throw a wrench into things.
Thank you. Thank you, Inspector. And last but not least, Your Worship, I do believe, although it's a third quarter report, I do believe this is our first public report on the CSOs, because we have very limited stats from Q2 because they had just started. So I would like to call on our Director of Public Safety, Mr. Brad Bailey, to read our third quarter report for CSOs.
Yes, thank you. So as you pointed out, the second quarter, we had only did 10 calls for service, as it was just the start of the launch of the program. So the third quarter saw 39 calls. I won't go through the list, but there's quite a lot of different calls that they did attend to. So currently our staffing, we had some members move on to First Nations policing, and we found ourselves in a situation where we had no CSO officers for the last month or so. We have 4 new cadets that are hired. They are currently in the training. Their training started October 21st. Their graduation is November 15th, and I believe they will be in our office on November 19th. So we're looking forward to that. Currently our office is operating 8:30 in the morning till 4:30 in the afternoon, Monday to Friday. With the new officers, we are looking at changing those hours, so please keep posted, and hopefully when we have reviewed the times and the days a week that we're operating, we'll update everybody when we have that. So current equipment, we have our Unit 501, which is our one vehicle, which is currently in being upfitted for lights and sirens. So it should be a lot more effective, and it's going to open up more assistance to the RCMP that the CSOs can offer. So we're looking forward to having that done. We also have the 2 e-bikes. They're quite popular this summer. They're really a good way to engage with the folks in the community. You're a lot more personal when you're riding around town, and our response times actually on the bikes were excellent for any calls while they're out on patrol for them. So our CSO officers, they work regularly with the RCMP. We're trying to create a strong bond with the RCMP, and we have bi-weekly meetings that we were performing before we had our staffing issues. The CSO officers during this quarter, they did prioritize the businesses on Saskatchewan Avenue, conducting daily check-ins and consistent foot patrols and bike patrols. So our whole goal was to be out in the community, to be making those relationships with our business community and focusing on our downtown core at this time. So, projects coming in the future here, as I said, our Unit 501 is currently being worked on. Once we have the upfitting, it's going to make the enhancements to the car better so that we can assist the RCMP during, with traffic control, enable them to assist RCMP in different ways, as well as with the cold weather coming, we will have a place to detain somebody until they can be processed by RCMP. So we're looking forward to having the vehicle. We are, I feel, in a much better position with the new staff coming than we were when we first launched the project. So we're excited to get everything back up and rolling November 19th. That concludes my report.
Excellent. Councillor Doyle?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just have two questions for clarification. On the statistics, Chief Bailey, can you tell me what IPDA stands for?
I wish I could, but I'm going to refer to Inspector Smeniak.
Intoxicated Persons Detention Act.
Intoxicated Person Detention Act.
Okay, perfect. The other question I have is under Liquor, Gaming, Cannabis Control Act, what kind of call would constitute a statistic in that category?
I would think that is actually a very good question. I'm not sure, as I don't create the stats here for this.
Could it be?
I would think it would be either an intoxicated person or somebody with possession of something that they shouldn't have.
You can have cannabis, you can't smoke it in public, like you can't, right? So maybe that would, is that right?
Yeah, or improper packaging.
Okay, perfect. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Good questions. Okay. If there's no items of old business, we will adjourn council at 7:12 p.m. and move right into committee. Call committee to order at 7:12 p.m. Finance, Legislative and Property Committee, Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Worship and colleagues. I have 3 items for committee this evening. The first one is for the 2025 council meeting schedule. As you know, this is an annual thing. We have to go through the coming year dates for council meetings and, of course, then make them public. So I'm not going to go through all this. This will come to the next council meeting. Please review it. Please advise staff if there are any concerns with any of the dates or things they missed. They've tried to take into account things like the AMM conventions and the Municipal Administrators Convention and so on. So have a look at it. It'll come back to the council meeting, next council meeting. The other item in your package, of course, is an annual review of our fees and charges. This is an annual process where our staff go through the fees that we charge as a city for different services to our residents. They are looking at a few changes to animal licensing, local vehicle for hire, and so on. Again, I encourage council to look at those. But in your package, you also have a list of all the fees that we do have as a city. Have a look at them. There may be something else that you want reviewed, and we will have this come forward to the next council meeting. But for now, it's in there for you to review and examine and have a look at if these are fees you think should be changed. The last item I have, it's actually something very great. It's the first time ever, as I understand, we want to hear from our citizens about our upcoming budget. And so I understand that the first ever community budget survey is on our website under latest news. And it's it's short, sweet, but it's to give our citizens a chance to tell us as council what they would like to see in the next budget. And I think this is great. This is part of our, I think, council's mandate, and we've all believe in this as a council. We've shown it open and transparent, and we want to hear from our residents. And I think this is a great initiative. So please go to the City of Portage la Prairie website I think it'll be on our Facebook as well tomorrow. And give us your feedback of where you want to see the budget priorities over the coming year. And I hope we get as many of these as we did for the community safety plan. We will push this as often as we can, but it's our citizens' opportunity. I think it's a great initiative, and I think it's important. It's their money that we're spending, so let's hear what they have to tell us about the upcoming budget. So those are my reports, Your Worship.
Thank you.
I look forward to that.
Okay, we'll move into City Planning and Economic Development Committee. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship, and Councillor, next councillor, councillors, fellow councillors. Next council meeting, I'll be bringing forward just a couple of lease agreements, a little bit more kind of housekeeping, but just in 2008, council authorized administration. Part of that, I believe, was through the Portage Regional Tourism Advisory Council at that point in time in 2008 had asked the city in order to put these up. Am I misunderstanding?
That was a different billboard.
That's two different billboards?
Yeah.
I apologize. These ones, sorry, let's just go with this. I'll be bringing the a couple of lease agreements. They're actually identical in nature, and they will be coming up for another 5-year term. They start in 2008, again in 2014, 2019, and once again for renewal in 2024. So the leases are there for your review. If there is any questions on it, we can certainly address it at next council meeting.
Thank you. That's okay. Community Services Committee, Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Worship. The first thing I'd like to bring up is the Sport Tourism Canada. If you recall, last year I was able to attend the Sport Events Congress in Winnipeg. This next year it is in Calgary, and I'm going again, not as a city councillor, but as a representative of a sports group. But the reason I bring that up is because Kelly Verway and Angie Schindel also attended that last year. They most likely will be invited again this year, and it will be up to those respective councils for their organizations whether they go or not. And I would just like to say that I found a lot of value in that, and I think they did too, and would strongly encourage the representatives on those groups to consider sending them back for that conference.
Thank you.
And the second item is, through your worship, I'd like to call upon Councillor Massey for an item.
Thank you, Councillor Espy, and Your Worship and colleagues. I was privileged to attend the annual conference of Communities in Bloom here in Portage la Prairie, province-wide conference. Deputy Mayor Porter was also there and brought greetings and stayed for a number of the sessions. And I'm sure we'll be hearing about this from the chair, Kathy McFarland, but we got another 5-star award for our community. And I can tell you, I read the report. I didn't read it last year. It was new to me. I was just happy. But this year I actually read it. And you know, when you read it, you really see how beautiful our city is, the things that they commented on. So I was proud to be there. A lot of pictures were taken, but that committee of Kathy McFarland and the other people that were there are just incredible, and the work that they do. So great news for our beautiful city of Portage la Prairie. But I know Deputy Mayor Porter might have a few comments as well. But it was a great event for Portage la Prairie.
Sure, Councillor Massey. I have a few things to say. Yes, it was not a surprise that we won the 5 blooms. I thought we deserved it, and we worked hard for it. But it just goes to show you that it's not just about plants. It's not just about what you're growing, but we are recognized for our achievements, not only in the beautification, but the environmental initiatives and our community involvement. So it really instills civic pride in us, and they were really surprised at how environmentally, how do you say it, like our Saskatchewan Avenue, like the bioswales and stuff, that it was more than just being beautiful with plants, that there was actually a reason behind it, right? To stop the flooding and to reduce the pollution going down to our Crescent Lake, but yeah, it is more than plants. There's a lot more involved with it, and yeah, it was a very proud moment for all of us, but not a surprise. Not a surprise because it is beautiful. So yeah, and Joe, thanks for staying the whole day.
Anything else for community services?
That concludes my report.
Thank you. Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Worship. Waterworks Committee has nothing to report at this portion of the meeting unless my colleagues have something they wish to talk to us about with Waterworks. Seeing none, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Transportation Committee, Councillor Porter.
Transportation has nothing to report, except the fact that we passed that trek. Now I can finally say Saskatchewan Avenue is over. And and we had that little celebration there, along the Saskatchewan Avenue. And pleased to say that everything's done except the few painting of the lines on the bike lanes, and that's about it. And we're done. On to the next projects. And I think that's really all I've got to say is that they are finishing up a few of the things in the fields in some of the green spaces, and so it's looking good. The winter, or I guess you should say the fall, is cooperating with us. There's no snow, so we haven't had to remove any snow yet. So I think we're on a little bit of a break here, so feels good.
Yeah, I think on that note that the public should know is that our investments, but especially our city operations team, is ready and prepared for the snow to come and what they're going to do with it. So we have complete faith in them on that, and they'll be able to prove it to the rest of the citizens. Just on that note, it is Councillor Porter's last meeting as deputy, so I want to thank you for your time in that and the effort you put into it, and being active at attending events when I couldn't, and I really appreciate that. So.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Knox. It has been a great pleasure and great honor to stand alongside you, as well as help out when you are not able to attend some of these events. These are very great events to attend. I think every one of them is important. There's nothing one that stands out in my mind. I know it's new this with this council sharing the deputy mayor's job, but it's given me great confidence, made me feel really good about myself, and it just gets me out there to actually relate to the community, to tell them that I'm proud of you, I'm proud of our community, and I think council here has been very good about representing themselves here. So it's just been a great pleasure as I pass the torch on to Councillor Nichols, and you're going to enjoy it. And I think probably one of the big things I bring back with me is people really, they want to hear from you, they want to hear the good things, and greetings sometimes have to come from your heart, correct? And so sometimes you really got to do some thinking, but I was very happy to attend those events, as well as one of the things I take back on this time here is attending that AMM caucus conference with you, Mayor Knox. I found that very eye-opening, meeting with 10 other cities that we share the same problems, but we also have our wins, and so it was something very intimate to talk to each of these people about, and rather than in a bigger setting, it was I've learned a lot from that, so thank you so much.
Excellent. Okay, Public Safety Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. I guess that means we are 2 years into this, and I'm excited to see what the next 2 years brings. But as far as Public Safety Committee report. I just wanted to say I had the opportunity to attend the Manitoba Provincial COPP conference on the weekend. It was good to talk with members from other groups around Manitoba, primarily for me to talk to them about funding and municipal support. A lot of these programs, which are a strictly volunteer-based program, don't have any input from their municipalities. And I know as a city, we pay a very, very small price. We help cover mileage, the mileage cost for these volunteers to drive around and patrol our city. And I just think it's very invaluable, especially the trade-off for the dollars we pay versus the what we get back from them. So it was good to talk to other groups and tell them to get their municipalities involved. One of the presentations that really jumps out to me, and I know I've kind of plugged this before in committee, but we had a presentation by the group who enforces the Safer Communities and Neighborhoods Act. And I just want to encourage people to even just Google Safer Neighborhoods and Communities Act, see what the law entails and what kind of powers that this group has to enforce this act. So if you have a home in your neighborhood that you suspect is involved in any sort of criminal activity, you can contact this group and they will take care of this house for you. They really will take care of this house and get rid of it for you. So yeah, I just wanted to bring them up and plug them again. So other than that, I have nothing else to report.
Awesome, thank you. I just want to mention two things. I attended last week. We had, I believe, 85 representatives in Portage at the Herman Pryor Center. It was the Manitoba Association of Senior Coordinators, and I brought greetings there. But it was just, I just wanted to plug that the people who support seniors in our communities and the things that they do. And the one thing that I found really interesting that I just want to share with you, that it's something to look up, is a new thing that, it's a new program, and it's called social prescribing. And so they're actually working with medical professionals, because they find, like in communities, that oftentimes seniors go to doctor's appointments, or seniors have different things, and it's based on, you know, maybe social isolation or you know, loneliness, all of that, and that's why they're seeing doctors, etc. And so now they're going to be programming where doctors can actually prescribe social programs for seniors. And I think it's just fantastic. And so just kudos in Portage especially. We have a lot of things happening for our seniors, and that just supporting them and continuing to what they do, and kudos to Herman Pryor Center for what they do. But I just thought it was an interesting thing to know about. And then I don't have it on and I feel terrible, but the Poppy campaign has launched through our local Legion, and so get your Poppy, make sure you lose it 10 times and buy a new one. However, they support groups in our community, and their region is actually big. They go all the way to Eli, like where they get the poppies from, so consider getting one. So that is my last plug. If nothing else, we will adjourn committee at 7:28 p.m.